Earth. Not today. We're going to space. Hello everyone, welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about board games and board gamey things. I am back again today with another pumped up Kickstarter. And today's pumped up Kickstarter is going to be on Red Dog Junction from Waterworks Games, who very kindly sponsored today's video. Now, few things to note. Number one, this is a prototype, so anything that you see is of course subject to change. I'm going to have the links, everything that you need in the description below if this ends up sounding like a game that you are interested in. And as per usual with my preview videos, this is not a full how to play. It's a general overview to help you decide whether or not this game is a good fit for you. So without further ado, I say we launch ourselves into space, because this is a space game, and we get right into it. Howdy Space Cowpokes! Today we're heading into the dusty world of Red Dog Junction, a fast-paced, high-stakes space western where deals are shady and cargo is king, and everyone is gunning for gold. You'll be captaining your very own rogue freighter, mining resources, hiring the rowdiest crew in the quadrant, and trading goods at the infamous Red Dog Junction. But what does any of that mean? I'm glad you asked. Let's take a closer look at how the game works. In Red Dog Junction, 2 to 5 players become rival freighter captains trying to earn the most victory points by hiring crew and officers, mining, salvaging, and swapping commodities, making high-value trades, and most importantly, hoarding as much gold as possible. This is like one of my favorite things to do in games. Find the gold and hoard it. I love a good treasure. Who doesn't? The game ends the moment the last gold cube is tucked away in player storage, so you better move fast, trade smart, and maybe, do a little spacey piracy along the way. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you could do that. All right, so let's get started. Here is what the game looks like on the table, which in this game, of course, is space, okay? We're in space. Basically, what we're going to be doing, and what I have done, I should say, is we are going to be scattering the planet tiles in space around the Red Dog Junction board, which is the board in the middle. And then we also have the haberdashery out in space, which is this board right here. All right? So there's no board. There's just vibes, just space vibes happening here. We also have a bunch of scrap, aka these black cubes that are pretty much just tossed into the void, floating between locations. So you're just going to be putting these out, kind of flitting them around, basically. Everyone is also going to get a ship. So we have a bunch of different ships, and they are all shaped differently. So you're going to get a ship, you'll get a home base, and you are going to get a starting crew. So let's show you our starting crew, which consists of 3 cowboys, 1 agent, 1 miner, and 1 scavenger. Okay, so those are our starting crew, and everybody's going to start with the same crew. Now, depending on who the first player is, which is decided by a dice roll, the first and second players will get 1 gold, and then the third and fourth players, and so on, will get 2 gold, all right? We also, at the top here, have a card market with 6 face-up cards and a big old deck of boosts and officers and crew. Lots of different cards in here. You will also notice in the market, we have some similar crew that we actually start with. So you'll see here's a miner, and then there's an agent, both of which we already have. But in addition to that, there are a lot of different cards that will come up in the market. Now, the haberdashery gets its stack of super deal tiles. We have some that have 8 gold, wow, and some that have 6 gold. Wow, those are separated and they're put into their own piles on the haberdashery board. These let you turn commodities into big chunks of gold. And once again, gold is great. You'll also notice that we do have some of these 6-sided die or D6s all around the Red Dog Junction. At the beginning of the game, you are going to roll those and place them out on these little D6 sections. And then we also have a gold D4 in the center with the value of 1 face up. So That's how that board has been set up. Gold cubes, we're just going to keep talking about gold because it's so important. Gold cubes are limited. So in a 2 to 3 player game, which currently we are set up for a 3-player game, we have returned 10 gold cubes to the box right away. So if it's a 4 or 5 player game, we're not going to be removing any, all right? But that means in a 3-player game, they're limited. So hustle, my friend, hustle for that gold. All right, so how does the game work? Now, each player gets 2 actions per turn, and you could take the same action twice if you want. Here are the actions that you can do. The first is to move. You're going to move from one location to another. You always pass through space. So let's do a little example. Let's just say that you want to move from your home base to the Ruby planet, which is over here. So you're going to spend 1 action to move into space. Space is its own area, and then a second action to dock at the Ruby planet. All right, so that's your 2 actions that you'd be taking. You can end your turn anywhere, even in deep space, but you can't dock in someone else's home base, so I couldn't, just be ripping around and say, hey, bud, I'm gonna come and dock at your home space. That's just not how it works, okay? The next thing that you can do is mine. Let's just say we're docked at a planet. Perfect, time to mine. So we do have our miner cards. Now each miner you have lets you take 1 matching cube from the bank onto your ship. And you will notice on the Ruby planet, that is going to be one of the red cubes. And then you'll just place it right in your ship like so, okay? So that's what the miner allows you to do, 1 mine action. So I don't know if you're kind of getting the gist here, but more miners equal more stuff. We like stuff. Stuff is fun. The next thing that you can do is salvage. Now, if you are in space, let's go back to space. If you're in space, you can scoop up floating commodities, including gold and scrap, using your scavengers. And you'll remember scavengers are one of our starting cards. And there are also going to be more that will come up in the marketplace. So they give you 1 scavenge action. Each one lets you grab 1 piece of cargo from the void. So if this were the current situation, I could grab a piece of scrap that is flutting around in the void. The next action is to load or unload. So while docked at your home base, you can load or unload any number of commodities between your ship and your base. Cargo in your base equals safe for trades and card purchases. So, I've been out here. I went to the Ruby planet. I've been in space. I'm going to come back and then we can unload, putting our things into our cargo space. Cargo on your ship is vulnerable and tempting. We're dealing with cowboys. This is like a pirate situation. You don't want to leave too much stuff on your ship because then you could become the target. Trade is the next action. The Red Dog Junction is where the magic happens. You can dock at one of the 6 trade posts. The dice around your post determine the trade options. Your agents can trade commodities or change the die values to get better rates. And the more agents you have, the more you can tweak or trade. Only 1 ship per post, so timing and displacing others can be key. So you'll remember agents are one of those type of starting cards that we have. That might sound just a little bit confusing, so let's just kind of show you an example here. Let's just say I was docked right here and we wanted to do a trade. You're basically looking at the D6s that are on either side of you, as well as the gold D4 in the center, which is going to be the trade value. I've given myself some extra resources here to make the example work. So this is whiskey, which is the brown resource. If I wanted to get some gold from the whiskey, I would have to spend 6 whiskey, because that's the number of pips on the die here, in order to get 1 gold, because 1 is at the top. Now if the 3 was at the top, then I would be able to get 3 gold. That's only if I play 1 agent. If I were to have played 2 agents, so if this were my card, I would be able to do that 2 times. Or if you would rather use your agent to kind of, manipulate that die, you can do that too, which can give you a better trade deal, because honestly, 6 cubes for 1 gold might not be the best trade. Okay, the next thing that you could do is purchase gold. So at the haberdashery, you can trade specific sets of commodities shown on the super deal tiles in order to earn big piles of gold. Just make the trade, take the gold, and stash the tile at your base. It'll be worth some points later. So you'll see here on these examples, maybe we'll use the 6 gold as an example. We want 3 of the white cubes, 3 of the red cubes. So white is ice, red is ruby, based on these planets, all right? So if we had that, which we don't, so let's just pretend, we could exchange these 3 ice and these 3 rubies in order to get 6 gold. Wow, that's why it says wow. Remember, gold is great. Okay, so that's what we want to do. Next, you can purchase cards. From anywhere on the map, you can spend resources from your storage to hire new crew, boosts, or officers from the face-up display. So you'll see, once again, the market is up here. And let's just say we wanted these outlaws. It's saying we can either spend 2 whiskey or 3 gold in order to acquire the outlaw. All right, the outlaw is a type of crew. Here we have an officer, which is the quartermaster. Here we have a boost. This is an example of a boost. The amount that you need to pay is always going to be in the top left-hand corner. Boosts are always going to cost 1 gold. Officers usually cost a combo of the 2. So if we're looking at this one here, so actually let's just go back to our example. So you'll see the outlaws are a crew. 2 whiskey or 3 gold. Whereas the quartermaster, you need 4 ice and 4 oxygen. So they're a bit more expensive, but of course they are probably going to give you a bit stronger actions. Next up, we have swap. Floating in space? Got outlaws? Well, guess what? You can swap cargo with another ship, also in space. Each outlaw lets you swap 2 for 2. No stealing, just aggressive bartering. So actually we had that outlaw card right here. This is the card that you'll need in order to do that. And once again, you're not going to start with this type of crew. So this action's only going to become available when you have outlaws. Then we have displace. With Rathskellars, which is this card right here, you can bump ships out of their locations and into space, including your own. This is great for snagging block trade posts or mines. So this is what the Rathskellars card looks like here. And just as a reminder, when might that come in handy? So you'll remember only 1 ship can be in this particular dock at a time, but if this ship wanted to come in and they also wanted to go here, well, they are going to use a Rathskellars card and they are just going to displace me, which, you know, it's not very nice, but it could be worse. Could be worse. Then we have to play a boost. Boosts are one-time special powers that can seriously shake things up. So like steal cargo, swap dice, mine instantly, even take extra action. So basically you play it, you do it, and you discard it. So the boost that we have here is called the double cross. Swap the positions of any 2 dice at the Red Dog Junction, then discard the card and take an extra action. That's an example of a boost. Of course, you can also choose to pass. You can always pass an action, but just know that's space-time wasted. Nobody likes to waste time, especially in space. I really don't know anything about space-time, but I just know it shouldn't be wasted. Okay, so let's take a look at the different card types, starting with crew. Your crew determines what you can do each turn. They're your action engine, essentially. Miners let you pull more cubes from planets when you mine. Cowboys expand your cargo hold, so 2 cargo per cowboy. Agents are going to give you better trades and let you adjust die at the Red Dog Junction. Scavengers scoop up scrap and other goodies from space. Outlaws will let you swap cargo with other players in space. Wrestlers bump ship from their spots, very handy when trade docks are full. And Rascals are wild. You declare what crew type they are at the start of each turn. Each crew type specializes in something unique, and stacking multiples can give you massive actions. So you might want to go with a specific strategy for trade. So maybe you're going to try and get lots of agents. Maybe you just want to be really mean and you just get a bunch of wrestlers. You could do that for sure. Why not? Then we have officers, and officers are more expensive, as we mentioned before, but they give you ongoing abilities that break the rules. The mayor, as an example, lets you swap dice at the Red Dog Junction when trading, and that's huge for getting better rates. The quartermaster lets you unload cargo from space directly to your base, so no need to dock. The sheriff gets paid cargo every time another player docks at the Red Dog Junction or haberdashery. It's pure passive income. You know how the YouTubers are always talking about passive income? This is what they're talking about. The Pathfinder lets you teleport to any location on the board, which is incredible flexibility. Officers can totally reshape your strategy, so if you snag one early, you want to build your entire play style around it. Now finally, there's boosts. We already kind of talked about this. One-time use cards. You pay 1 gold to buy them, and when you play one, you discard it, but they can completely turn the tide of the game. Here's a few juicy examples. We have This Is a Stick-Up. Everyone jettisons 4 cargo into space. Total chaos. We have Bonanza. Instantly add 3 non-gold cubes from the bank to your storage. We have the Fix Is In. Change any 2 dice at the Red Dog Junction. Perfect for surprise trades. We have Blaze a Trail. Move anywhere on the board except another player's base and displace anyone in your way. Crazy. Boosts are unpredictable and often game-changing, and if you use them at the right moment, you'll go from broke to bold in a single turn. That's just like that old soap opera that might still be on TV. The Bold and the Beautiful. The Broke to the Bold. Maybe that's a new soap opera, a space opera. The game is going to end the moment the last gold cube is stored by a player. It doesn't matter where anyone is or whose turn it is. Then you're going to score victory points from your purchase crew, from your officers, from super deal tiles, and boosts are worth nothing, but they do break ties. So your question might be, who is this game for? Red Dog Junction is perfect for players who love that sandbox-style gameplay with high player interaction, and a little bit of controlled chaos. If you're into games where you build your own engine, but mess with your rivals and make clever trades to snag gold before anyone else, then this is obviously a game for you. With that being said, this can be a very mean game. So if you get upset when you've built something and then somebody comes along and knocks over your cargo and that makes you cry, well, maybe this one's not for you. But if that sounds like something that's fun, if you like kind of messing with the other players and having a great time, definitely check this one out. So my friends, that is Red Dog Junction. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning, if this sounds like something that you might be interested in, I'm going to have the links, everything you need to know in the description below. So definitely check it out if it tickles your fancy. So that's everything that I have for you all today. Now, if you're interested in buying board games, remember for Red Dog Junction, we are going to Kickstarter, link in the description. But other games that are currently out in retail, you should first start by checking your friendly local gaming store. For us, that's the Boardroom Game Cafe. And if you like what you see, please subscribe. I hope to see you again soon. And now I say goodbye. Goodbye. Have fun in space, picking up space junk. Technically, Earth is in space. I'm realizing that now, but it's fine. With rustlers, do we have any rustlers out? Let's find one, shall we? With rustlers, that's this card right. I was showing you the back. That's not very helpful. The sheriff gets paid cargo every time another player docks at the Red Dog. The sheriff gets